How to be sleepy before sleep. Now, I used to always stay up all night because I would just never feel tired. Just didn't feel like I wanted to go to sleep. And as a result, I would just stay up all night. I didn't understand anything about sleep science and how sleep works and why we sleep, and no pun intended. But yeah, like for most of my life, my sleep was just completely disorganized. But yeah, like for most of my life, I could never sleep because I wasn't tired. I didn't feel like I wanted to sleep. So I would just stay up all night, and I would actually sleep in the morning and wake up at night for so long, and that just destroyed my mental health, my physical health, and I was just angry, I was irritable, my life sucked at that time. Like, sleep is the foundation for every single thing in your life. If we forget our sleep, we ruin everything else. Alright, so, but now after doing the things I will tell you in this video, every single time, like when my bedtime alarm rings and when it's time to go to bed, I feel exhausted, like I'm so tired, I'm begging myself to sleep. Like, sleep is literally like my relaxation, right? It's like my time off, like I'm begging to sleep. So here's how I always feel tired and sleepy, right, before going to sleep. Now, the first thing is actually waking up early. Now, it was absolutely impossible for me to be able to sleep because I didn't have enough sleep pressure. So let me explain what that is. You have a hormone in your body called adenosine. Adenosine is the hormone that makes you feel tired, that makes you feel sleepy, that makes you want to sleep. And this is what we're gonna focus on this entire video. This hormone, it's called adenosine. Now, adenosine, which is the hormone that makes you feel tired and sleepy and want to sleep, is directly correlated to how many hours you are awake. So basically, the more hours you are awake, the higher your adenosine, the higher we call sleep pressure, right? The higher sleep pressure you have, the more tired you feel. Of course, that makes sense. We've all tried this, right? The more hours you are awake, the more you want to sleep. And this just makes complete sense. Like, you know, when you pull like an all-nighter, right, and you're just awake for like 20 hours, you're exhausted, you're like so tired because you have like extremely high adenosine. Of course, that's not very healthy because like that is way too much adenosine, right? But it makes sense. Like, we've all tried this. The more you are awake, the more you want to sleep, right? It makes complete sense. Now, we should be awake for 14 till 17 hours a day to have optimal high adenosine and feel sleepy before going to bed. If you understand nothing from all of this video, understand this, because this is literally the most important thing. The reason you cannot sleep and the reason you can't feel sleepy before sleep and the reason you don't feel tired before sleep is because you haven't been awake for enough time. You didn't wake up early. And this makes complete sense. Like, for me personally, what I would do is I would wake up at like, 2 p.m. and then I would want to sleep at 10 p.m. But that's barely any adenosine. That's just like 8 hours of adenosine, which is barely anything, right? So of course, when it came time when my bedtime came, when it came time for me to go to bed, it was just impossible for me. It was just impossible because my adenosine is so low. I have no desire to sleep. I want to stay awake. That's just how we are as humans. And the way to lower adenosine is by sleeping, right? So because I slept for like 11 or 12 hours, my adenosine is very low, very low. I need to replenish that by having enough sleep pressure and enough adenosine. So what would happen would be like, I would want to sleep at 10 p.m. but that wouldn't come, so I would stay awake for like 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I would be just so tired because my adenosine is very high. So I would sleep and then wake up at like 3 to 4 p.m. and then the cycle would just keep going on forever. Right? But the way to stop this is to wake up early and stay awake for 14 to 17 hours. If you get nothing from this entire video, understand this. The reason you can't sleep is because you need to stay awake for 14 to 17 hours. And I promise you, if you are awake, like genuinely awake, no naps, nothing, just awake and living your life for 14 to 17 hours, you will feel very tired before going to sleep, and you will sleep deeply and have very good quality of sleep. Bro, this is the most important thing. Always remember, the more you are awake, the more sleepy you will feel, because the higher your adenosine is. The second thing is self-improvement habits. So when I was 11 and 12, my day was just terrible. You know, I used to wake up at like 2 to 3 p.m. and I would sleep for like 11, 12 hours, like so much, right? Because I stayed awake the day before, and do all these bad habits like video games, social media, eating junk food, you know, not exercising, watching porn, all the bad habits. And it just destroyed my sleep, and it was impossible for me to sleep, because first of all, I was getting barely any adenosine, but second of all, these habits were destroying my sleep. Like social media and video games and porn, like they emit all this blue light which blocks your melatonin, which is the hormone that makes you, you know, ready to go to sleep. Blocking that, making you never ready to go to sleep, because let's be honest, like the companies that make these products, their incentive is attention and money. They don't care about you as an individual. They don't care about your sleep. They don't care about your health. All they care about is your attention. And if that means that you will stay awake for as long as possible to consume their products, they will do that. They will do that, right? These companies have no morals, by the way. But yeah, like the bad habits were destroying my sleep. But now I wake up at 6:30 a.m. every single day, get morning sunlight, I meditate, journal, you know, I record these videos, I work on my purpose, I do, you know, work at school, I'm working out, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing boxing, I'm reading for hours, right? So by the end of the day, I've built so much adenosine. I've been awake for like 14 to 17 hours, like so long, for 16 hours straight. And I've done all these habits that make me like extra, like way extra tired, like way more tired, that I'm just begging to sleep. I'm just begging myself to go to sleep, because I've done so much in my day and I need to recover. I need sleep. Right? And there are 5 core habits that make me just extremely sleepy before bed, and these are actually scientifically proven to maximize the quality of your sleep. And they are getting morning sunlight. So the first thing we should all do when we wake up is get morning sunlight for 10 to 30 minutes. That's the first thing we should do when we wake up, because that just optimizes our circadian rhythm. It gives us energy, it improves our mood, it improves our focus. Getting morning sunlight in the morning. Second thing, meditation improves my sleep significantly, of course. It makes me relax, makes my mood better, makes me focus better, presence. And then journaling, exercise, and reading. So morning sunlight, meditation, journaling, exercise, and reading. Those are the 5 core habits to maximize the quality of your sleep. And like genuinely, bro, like visualize with me, if you woke up early, right, and the first thing you did, you got sunlight in the morning, right, which actually like is so beneficial for you. It's insane. Like listen to what Andrew Huberman says about morning sunlight. So you get morning sunlight, and then you meditate and you journal and you work on your mental health. And then you go to the gym and you hit just a massive leg workout. You know, squats, hack squats, leg presses. And then you eat your post-workout meal. And then you just read your favorite book for hours and hours and hours. So all that time, your adenosine is getting higher and higher and higher. And you're doing all these habits which are making you want to sleep, which are making you tired, which are making you sleepy, right? So just imagine, like when 10 p.m. comes, or any time you want to go to sleep, when 9 p.m. comes, for example, you're begging yourself to sleep. You really want to sleep, right? So let's revise real quick. So the first thing we said was wake up early to maximize adenosine, and the more you stay awake, especially for 14 to 17 hours, that's when your adenosine is optimal, basically. That's when you will sleep. So waking up early and getting 14 to 17 hours staying awake to maximize adenosine. The second thing we said was self-improvement habits, meditating, journaling, morning sunlight, exercise, reading, all these habits. Now the third thing is a sleep routine. Now when I was 11 and 12, my sleep routine was exactly this, bro. Ready? When it came time for me to go to bed, which was at that time was like 12 or 1 a.m., which is very unhealthy, but just bear with me. All I did was I would shut off my phone, close the lights, and go to sleep. No routine, no dimming the lights, no nothing. Now I have like a 30-minute, sleep routine. I'll explain it real quick. So 30 minutes before my bedtime, so at 9:30, I dim all the lights except this little night light that I have. And then when 10 p.m. comes, when my bedtime comes, I brush my teeth, I get my clothes ready, I turn on the AC, make the room as cold as possible. I explain all these things why. Pray, and then I put on this eye mask to cover my eyes, and that just 10x's the quality of my sleep. And then I go to sleep, and that just makes me so sleepy and just sleep like a child. So why do I do all these things? There's another hormone, right? So adenosine, there's another hormone that's called melatonin. These two are like the goats of sleep. Like the two core hormones of sleep are adenosine and melatonin. Adenosine is the hormone that makes you feel sleepy, and you increase it by staying awake for as long as possible. Melatonin is the hormone that signals to your entire body that, hey, it's time to go to sleep. It's time to relax. It's time to sleep. I'm gonna be honest, like every sleep routine is different. You don't have to do mine at all, but you can do any sleep routine you want. But there are 3 simple things that are essential to maximize melatonin and to signal to your body that it's time to go to sleep before bed. And those 3 things are, I'll break them down each one. Now the first thing that maximizes melatonin is making your environment as dark as possible. And of course, like evolutionarily, if we think like 100,000, 200,000 years ago, we always slept when it was pitch black, when it was night, like when it was just pitch dark black. That's always when we slept best. And the way I do this is, like I said, through an eye mask. These are so cheap, but they will improve the quality of your sleep and will make you so tired before bed. Like they will 10x your sleep, I promise. Like getting an eye mask, the mask you put around your eyes, this was a game changer for me. And I feel myself getting ready to sleep when I put it on. So that's how I do it. I dim all the lights and I put on this eye mask. The second thing is making your room as cold as possible. As cold as possible, like freezing cold. And again, this increases and maximizes melatonin. And the way I do this is, if it's in the summer, I turn on the AC and I make it at like 20 or 22 max, right? So I make the room like pretty cold, and that increases our melatonin. We need our temperature to be cold, right? We need the temperature of our environment to be very cold. So a dark room in a cold room. And the third thing is reading. Now this is a game changer. When you read before bed, you will sleep so good. It's insane. Now like the best way to read is honestly just physical books. Like even if you're not gonna read that many, but you can read with physical books. But you can also read, on a Kindle or on your phone. But you have to put, filters. You have to put the blue light filter, make it the brightness as low as possible, and make it on dark mode. Make your room, your phone on dark mode. So blue light filter, low brightness, and dark mode. So that's how you read on your phone. And I find that is pretty much equal to, or arguably equal to, reading physical books. So yeah, I do read on my phone, I'm not gonna lie, before bed, but I set it on low brightness. I make it, I set like the blue light filter, and I make the reading app I'm reading on dark mode, if that makes sense. So yeah, those are the three things: dark room, cold room, and reading before bed. And like I said, like evolutionarily, we always had these three things. We always, you know, slept when it was pitch black, when it was very cold, and we even read before bed. So this is how to feel sleepy before sleep. As always, we're in this together, we will make it.